I'd like to reconvene the public session. Will the city attorney please report on actions taken in closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In closed session, council heard the conference with labor negotiator. There was no reportable action. Also started discussing the performance evaluation city manager, which is more of a goal setting exercise, and council determined to continue the matter until after the council meeting.
Thank you, Colin. We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Kevin Bash and the invocation by Pastor Renee Parrish.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Micah 6:8 says, "And what does the Lord require of us? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." So let us bow in prayer. Father, we thank you that we could come before you in this open forum, God, to see about the business of our community and our city. And Lord, I come before you and I am grateful for those who serve here so diligently, all those that were elected, those appointed, those who volunteer, God, for our community, Lord, and I'm thankful for them. And Father, Lord, may we do what is just, Father, Lord, to what is right and righteous in your sight, Father. Lord, I pray, God, that our community and our leadership are always people who love mercy. God, that in a sea of God, this world where grace is something that is alien and not known, God, that we have seen your grace and your mercy. May we emulate that in our lives and in our decisions and in our view of others. And Father, may we always walk humbly before our Creator, knowing, oh God, Lord, that you are sovereign over all in all. And Father, submit all these things that we know and we don't understand, Father, God, to you, Lord, that you would guide and bring divine guidance and direction, Lord, to those that you have placed in leadership. We thank you. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Okay, I'm going to come down there and we're going to do some presentations. Okay, good evening again. This is our Community of Spirit Award that we're going to start with first. Each month, the City Council recognizes an organization, a business, or a person that is doing great things in Norco by presenting them with the Community Spirit Award. I would like to invite up Aaron Hake, not only the Deputy Executive Director at Riverside County Transportation Commission, but a graduate of Norco High School, a community member, and one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. So, right here, buddy. I've known Aaron for a very, very long time. So, Aaron and his wife and 2 sons live here in Norco with their chickens, tortoises, cats, dogs. They have a self-sustaining food garden and California native garden, living the true Norco lifestyle. Aaron also has a passion for public service. He stated that, quote, "I take personal responsibility for the future of my country through leadership and public service." He has embodied that quote not only with over 16 years with RCTC and other agencies, but also as a volunteer. Aaron has been a County of Riverside Planning Commissioner. How long ago was that? Not that long. Okay. All right. Representing the 2nd District, including the City of Norco. Founder of the Corona Norco Family YMCA, youth and government programs, served on the boards of the United Way of the Inland Valleys and the Greater Riverside Dollars for Scholars, and has been a volunteer coach and participant for the 100 Mile Club. Aaron loves to run 4 Boston marathons, and sometimes the only Norco resident. And I'm going to end this on a warning about Aaron. If he ever asks you, do you want to just run down to the beach? That is literal, okay? Aaron, thank you for being a great steward of public service, a great steward to this community, and please accept this Community Spirit Award on behalf of the City of Norco, City Council, and City staff. Oh, yeah.
Just to clarify, also, Aaron just got a promotion, so you might want to mention that.
Public service, thank you. So thank you, Mayor Newton. And I have a couple of my bosses here. So Mr. Bash is on the RCA board, who I work for, and Hoffman's a commissioner, and I believe the other council members are alternates on those boards. So I'm also here with people who I work for, but they're also my neighbors and my friends. I have friends here in the audience. And that's what I love about Norco, is that no matter if you're at work or you're at home, you're around neighbors and friends, and it's all about doing the right thing, the best thing for the community, and that's what I love about living here. I love that it's a place that my family can thrive in, and that it's just so easy. And so I just can't believe that I, can wake up every morning in the lifestyle that you described, and go to work and advocate for it, represent it, talk to the public about it. It makes it easy, and it's something I'm very passionate about. And I do live by that mantra that you said, that I take personal responsibility, and I challenge everybody to take personal responsibility for their community and its future. And towards that end, one of the ways I get to know the community is I run, as you mentioned, and I will invite anybody. If you want to go for a run, we don't have to go to the beach. We can go down Norco Drive, we can go down whatever your favorite street is, but it's a great way to see the community. I'll go at your pace, whatever pace you want to go. Any day. No. No, I can, we'll be fine. You'll be fine. So, seriously, well, let's do it. So, thank you again. My family's watching out there, so hello to them. And I'm also here for them as well. So, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Red Ribbon Week. Tonight the City Council is recognizing October 23rd through 31st as Red Ribbon Week by presenting a proclamation to the Corona Norco Unified School District and their students. I'd like to invite Robin Jones and the CNUS students that are here tonight to please join me at the podium to receive a proclamation on behalf of the Corona Norco Unified School District. So we could So I'm just going to do a couple of the whereases. The red ribbon became a symbol for drug prevention in 1985 in response to the murder of DEA Special Agent Enrique Kiki Camarena, which has come to represent his belief that one person can make a difference. And whereas the Red Ribbon celebration was established by Congress in 1988 to promote this belief and encourage a drug-free lifestyle and involvement in drug prevention efforts. Whereas the City of Norco and the Corona Norco Unified School District further commit their support and resources to ensure the success of Red Ribbon Week and year-round alcohol, tobacco, and drug abuse preventive efforts. Now therefore, I, Greg Newton, Mayor of the City of Norco, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 23rd through 31st, 2022 as Red Ribbon Week. Well, absolutely.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, City Council. So I'm Robin with the Corona Norco Unified School District. I want to share a couple things, and I brought one of our Norco Intermediate students here who's going to share with you also. I just want to share that Red Ribbon's been going on with our school district for many years. This year's theme is Celebrate Life, Live Drug-Free, Encourage your students. There's still time to do a poster or creative writing. And I also wanted to share with you and City Council, you all have a calendar for the 22-23 school year. We submit our winning posters to the county for a calendar contest. We submit 12 posters. They compete with students from Riverside Unified, Hemet, the Desert. And in this calendar for this school year, Corona Norco has 8 winners, 8 out of 12. So we are, we're very proud, we're very excited. Annika is here with me from Norco Intermediate. She's going to share a little bit about the history of Red Ribbon.
The Red Ribbon campaign was launched in 1985 in response to the torture and murder of DEA agent Enrique Camarena by drug traffickers. His death has touched the lives of millions of people around the world. When Kiki decided to join the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, his mother tried to talk him out of it. "I'm only one person," he told her, "but I want to make a difference." In honor of Camarena's memory and his battle against illegal drugs, friends and neighbors began wearing red badges made of satin. Parents, sick of the destruction of alcohol and other drugs, began forming coalitions, and many of these new coalitions embraced Camarena's belief that one person could make a difference, and the Red Ribbon celebration was born. Since that time, the Red Ribbon has become a symbol of hope behind grassroots efforts to protect children, youth, and adults from the dangers of alcohol and other drugs, and to raise awareness of the killing and destruction caused by drugs in America.
Back here.
Too little. See ya. Podium.
Okay. National Fire Prevention Month. Also tonight, the City Council is recognizing October as National Fire Prevention Month by presenting a proclamation to CAL FIRE. I'd like to invite Chief Bill Otterman to please join me at the podium. Chief? Sure. And it's been a long time. Right. Whereas National Fire Prevention Month, which includes National Fire Prevention Week, is observed each October to raise awareness about the importance of taking precautionary steps to prevent dangerous and life-threatening fires. And whereas the City of Norco and CAL FIRE, Riverside County Fire Department, are working to increase the opportunities to teach residents about fire safety and prevention. And whereas fire prevention is the responsibility of every Norco resident, and all the residents are urged to develop a plan and prioritize preparedness so that we are equipped to work together to ensure that the residents and their animals are ready for emergencies and disasters, including fire. Now therefore, I, Greg Newton, Mayor of the City of Norco, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim October 2022 as National Fire Prevention Month. Chief? Thank you very much. 2 words.
Talking about fire prevention, it's so important. Everybody has a plan at home and what they're doing with each family. It's not just the responsibility of just the fire department to make sure that happens. Everybody at home should be prepared, have a plan with your family, even your little ones. Show them where the escape routes are, how to get out, have a place to meet outside. Change the batteries in your smoke alarms or your smoke detectors, because if you don't, 3 in the morning, the one that's way up on the vaulted ceiling is going to go off, and you're going to be like, oh, I should have changed that out in the middle of the day. So make sure we stay on top of that thing, residents. You know, if something happens, you know we're going to be there for you, and that's our job. But we want you guys to take your steps to help prevent any fires at your house, okay? All right, thank you very much. Thank you. But we got to take a picture.
Now I'd like to call on Michelle Englund to give us an update on the Santa Ana River Bottom Cleanup Project.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. In September 2022, as part of the ongoing mitigation effort, representatives from CityNet and Riverside County Sheriff's Department inspected River Trails Park for possible encampments which would need to be addressed. As you know, funds were allocated in the fiscal year 2022-23 budget for collaborative homeless programs and service and to assist in the remediation of homeless encampments. During the inspection, 7 encampments were located, with 2 being occupied and 5 vacant. Thank you. A notice to vacate was posted for a minimum of 72 hours. All encampments were vacant when cleanup began. All previously identified homeless persons living in River Trails Park have been connected to services and/or shelter. As you see on the map, the yellow dots were encampments and the orange were debris piles. And you can see how spread out they are in the River Trails Park. The city contracted with Echo Bear, a biohazard cleaning company, to remove encampments and the debris. These cleanup efforts focus on mitigating significant and immediate safety risk, specifically fire hazards, restoring wildlife habitat and vegetation, restoring trails for equestrians and permitted pedestrians, and relocating individuals living in the riverbed into shelter and housing. On September 23rd, 2022, the cleanup commenced and was completed in 2.5 days. The cleanup took 241 man-hours, and 10 plus tons of construction and household debris was removed. Here is the actual condition of the areas during the inspection before the cleanup. Some of these items were brought down to the SAR via vehicle: generator, tote bins, debris, bleach. Next one has tools, kitchen equipment, bicycle, and more debris clearly in the trail. Here are examples of fire hazards: barbecue, kindling, propane tank with igniter, and an ATV. Here's more abandoned debris scattered around trails in the SAR. Construction material to erect living shelters, batteries, business establishments, shopping carts. Here's the interior view of the shelter. This is how the area looks after the cleanup. Trails and habitat are restored. Free of trash and debris. Trails once again accessible and not blocked. I just wanted to point out this one last photo. As you can see in the picture, if you can, there is some remnants of an actual fire pit. As previously identified, homeless persons living in River Trails Park have been connected to services and or shelter. I want to give a huge shout out to Norco Sheriff's Station Special Enforcement Team and Deputy Wittenberg, Deputy of the Year, who monitor weekly the creation of any new encampment and accompany the CityNet team members who conduct outreach in the area. These increased and frequent visits will help curb extensive cleanups in the future. Staff, along with Homeless Solutions Manager Karen Roper, who is actually here with us tonight, will be back before City Council in the near future with a full report and update on the Collaborative Homeless Services Program. And just a side note, the Riverside Sheriff was doing bi-weekly inspections of the SAR, and Deputy Wittenberg has committed to doing them weekly with CityNet, so I believe that's going to help tremendously. So I want to give them a huge thank you. And with that, I'll conclude. Any questions?
Good report. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate everyone's hard work. Okay. City Council reports on regional boards, and I'll call upon Mayor Pro Tem Grunmeyer to start communications.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing to report.
So on October 10th, I attended the Southern California Council of Governments, basically a housing policy leadership academy meeting. We're going to be finishing up in November with a couple more meetings, but it's been a group of elected officials, citizens, residents, county staff, city staff, all getting together to really dive in deep to the issues surrounding housing legislation. And we'll be finishing up the group that I'm working with. We're going to be looking at kind of some ADU housing policies and suggestions, which I'm really interested in because that's one of the pieces that was in our housing element, was to look at how we could leverage those ADUs to meet RENA goals.
Thank you, Catherine. Kevin?
I went to a lot of things. The number one thing I went to was actually this afternoon, the executive committee for the Riverside Conservation Authority. It was announced today that Aaron is now the executive director. He's no longer the deputy, so that's kind of cool. But what really struck me is, I don't know if you know this, but Norco was the first chair of that committee beginning in 2000. It was Dick McGregor. And from 2000 to present day, we have preserved very nearly 65,000 acres of land. And just in the last year, we have preserved 1,600 acres of land. That's in perpetuity for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren to enjoy. And it's actually really, really cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Ted?
Yep, he's back. I, like Kevin, went busy this weekend and this last week. Some of the highlights, Riverside County Transportation Commission meeting, good news report that finally the State Route 71 and State Route 91 interchange improvement is going to did some agreements there, and that's going to go out to bid. And hopefully, and I know it sounds like a long way away, but when you're talking about road projects, 2028 is supposed to be all done. So If you had to drive there and know what that interchange looked like, even 10 years ago to today, it's better, but it's going to be a whole lot better so that you can make that easy transition onto the 91 to get to Orange County or to come into 15, to the 91 to the 15. So, the Riverside Transit Agency, TNOW, that's a meeting of all of our local people here, and especially in Northwest Riverside County. We have really started to take it up. I'm proud of Jerry, our chairman, come up there. We're learning a lot about the local transportation of our busing, and we're trying to figure things out, how to get people into public transportation and to use it better. If you didn't know, there's Dollaride in our area. There's a Corona Cruiser, and we haven't gone to the hybrid yet. Like they're doing, they're testing that out in Hemet for that. It's kind of like a Uber on steroids for public transportation. But once they get that figured out, it may come out to our area. And then last night, if you didn't know, the Horse Week, they elected a new president, and I want to give a shout out to Joy Halsbog. He's the new president of Horse Week. We look forward to working with him in the future for that spring event. And then I don't know if Greg's going to talk about it, but I'm going to give a shout out to the Norco Chamber. Did an excellent first responders appreciation dinner, and Deputy Wittenberg, Deputy of the Year for our area, elected by the chairman, and then our captain here on Fire Station 47, and then the Sheriff's Department, all did a great job. If you got a chance to go to it, I know Patrick was back there to it. Chad did an excellent job, and he hit a home run yesterday on that whole thing, talking about the Sheriff's Department and what it is for first responders. And I want to commend Melvin Sparks for recommending Berwin Hanna. He's one of our original NARC guys to help start it, and we honored him yesterday, along with the members of the Citizen Patrol and the Norco Mountain Posse. These guys are out there on the first part, so good that for the first responders. And other than, I'm going to let you, Mr. Mayor, talk about how the city staff hit a home run yesterday with your the other day on your state of the city. So,
thank you, Ted. And once again, there's appreciation for all our first responders. It was real good. It was real good. So for regional boards, I attended the special board of directors meeting for the Chino Basin Desalter Authority. Pretty much business as usual on that. And just to touch about last Thursday on the state of the city, once again, I want to thank everybody for attending, but also just to thank staff for all the incredible amount of work that you all put into it. And thank you, Lori, for your leadership. And it was all good. It was all real good. So, and I'm glad it's over. Okay, let's move to consent calendar. Are there any items that need to be pulled?
Mr. Mayor, H is in hotel.
Okay. No, not yet, sorry. I was just, do we have any public comments?
I have no public comments for this item.
Okay. Kevin has a motion on the floor.
Second.
Please vote. There it goes. And motion passes unanimous.
Okay, thank you, Dana. 2H. Ted?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I want to share with you the importance of this board and this reason for this resolution and our agreement. It's been around since 2001, and it's turned into this. Actually, I'm the municipal representative for Riverside County. on the OWA board, which is One Water, One Watershed. It's all part of SOPWA. This is all now part of SOPWA and how they do it. And SOPWA is very important. And just to share with you how long it's been around, 2001, this included cities, the county, the dairies that were there, and all the affluents that were coming into the river. And since I can remember being 16 years old, and when they talked about the flood project and taking my mother over to these meetings, this was the same thing. How do we deal? How do we save the river? The important part of the river, all the affluents, how do you keep them out? How do you protect that environment down and the riparian areas down there that you have? And so even today, I really feel that I just wanted to share with you when we have our meetings, and I go every other month, we have an OWA meeting. And we talk about projects right now. We're doing Proposition 1 money. That's the water, what you're paying in, and which was agreed 2 years ago. How to allocate those funds out for projects that are along our watershed. I also keep track on SOPWA, what's going on. That's done by our water agencies, Metropolitan Water Agency, the Western Water District, and that, along with government agencies that are all part of this. And it goes all the way from San Bernardino County all the way to Orange County. And this is the middle part that we have. We're in the middle part of it. But I just want to tell you what SOPWA is doing. It's amazing. They have done things, a part of their funding, to include the impact of the homeless and transient camps along that riverbed, what it's doing. And they started a study back in 2016, completed it, and they show the results. They're still doing continual studies on this project. And these are all online if you're ever interested. But I just don't want you to think, well, here's another task force that we put the money into and it's cost us money. This is a group of people that are actually doing things. And just to tell you, one of the projects they're on that we did is they're trying a cloud seeding operation on a local level up in the hills so that we can capture, we need more water. Let's face it, we're in a drought. And part of this thing is to get that water, and they're working on a cloud seeding project to where we replenish our ground basin. So it's very important. It's been going along for years, and their focus has gone from not only what it was in 2001 to increasing the area. So I'm just going to say, if no one else, any other objection, I just wanted to put it out there, but I'll recommend we approve it. Thank you.
I'll second.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you, Dana. I'll call on the city clerk for public comments.
We have no, excuse me, we do. Please limit to comments to 3 minutes or less. The governmental body shall not discuss comments relative to any general public comment. And we have one speaker card, Bonnie Slager.
Hi, Bonnie.
Good evening. Tomorrow night is the monthly meeting for Norco Horsemen's Association, and our speaker tomorrow night is our new city manager, Lori Sassoon. And so I hope that all of you and people in the audience and people listening at home will feel like that they can join us 7 o'clock at the American Legion. If you want to come earlier for tacos, that's about 6:30, 6:40 for tacos before. So I hope to see everybody tomorrow night. And she doesn't know it yet, but I'm working on getting her on a horse too. But not tomorrow night, Lori, honest.
I have no further public comment, Mayor.
Thank you. I made her that offer too, Bonnie.
My horse is
Yeah. Perfect. We'll move into discussion and action items. This is item 5A, consideration of a resolution. Cindy. Good evening.
Mayor. I'm here tonight to present for your consideration a resolution to retroactively approve and adopt salary schedules for the management group effective July 18, 2013 through December 31st, 2020 and July 1st, 2022. CalPERS contacted the city to request all approved salary schedules that cover the prior city manager's tenure in order to meet the requirements of a publicly available pay schedule as defined under California Code of Regulations Section 570.5. The salary schedules that we are requesting tonight to be approved will cover the former city manager's term and will resolve the issue with CalPERS. These actions do not provide any retroactive salary adjustments or any additional salary to the previous city manager. It is only to memorialize in the salary schedules the compensation paid in those given times. Staff recommendation is for council to approve the resolution to retroactively approve and adopt salary schedules for the management group effective July 18, 2013 through December 31st, 2020 and July 1st, 2022. You're welcome.
Any questions? Do we have any comment?
I have no public speaker cards on this item, Mayor.
Thank you, Dana. We'll bring this back for council discussion and action. I'll make it. Okay.
Second.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Amendment number 1 to the MOU between the City of Norco and the 5 Key Schools programs. Michelle.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Norco currently has an established mutual partnership with 5 Keys through an MOU to support the mutual goals of 5 Keys in the city. The organization provides opportunities for agricultural education and affords farming prospects the ability to be part of the workforce to enhance the community culture and support its rural animal keeping and agricultural lifestyle. Before you tonight for consideration is a proposal from 5 Keys to further enter into a land stewardship collaboration at the newly purchased land on Sierra Avenue, which is slated for the future veterans housing. For an initial term of 1 year and potentially until the development is ready to move forward, this stewardship collaboration would create a field-based learning environment for EAT farmer training program participants while providing the City of Norco with deliberate and responsible land management usage of its newly acquired property. Additional positive impacts of the stewardship collaboration would include support for the city's desire to preserve large lots through community re-engagement in agriculture, and therefore showing one of the benefits of large lots. Deter trespassing, dumping, vandalism, and unauthorized occupancy at the properties, as well as landscape maintenance and upkeep of the site. The cost associated with the requested use of the Sierra properties is estimated at approximately $7,800 annually to include water, sewer, refuse, and electricity. 5 Keys will pay 50% of actual costs for utilities to the city on a quarterly basis. Staff recommends approval of amendment number 1 to the MOU as proposed in order to provide continued support for community farming and vocational education training in the City of Norco. 5 Keys representatives Chris Fauché and Patrick Mitchell are here with us this evening for questions you may have, as well as from staff.
Thank you, Michelle. Does council have any questions for staff and or the applicants at this time? I have a couple of questions that on the and this may be more for Chris also, so if you want to jump in on it. On the $7,800 annually, is that the cap?
That was
on-
just
on
a
this?
general estimate based on the services that have been at those properties prior. We're gonna have to look at what the use is right now and actually have the actuals come in and then charge that 50% to the 5 Keys. That was the
Okay.
plan.
And then I have a question for Chris. So, good evening. So that, the other week, Councilmember Hoffman and I met with you and Patrick, and I thought it was a good meeting, and I certainly support your program. And I certainly support you using this land. But we did have a discussion on utilities, and the estimate that you gave us at the time was approximately, you were thinking about $1,000 a month to cover all of that. And what would be the specific uses of, like in regard to the house for water? Is this just going to be like a sink, washing your hands, using the toilet?
Yeah, that was the general idea. So that
Minimal?
Yeah, minimal. So that way individuals could come in, they could use the restroom, they could wash their hands. Just, we're not looking to occupy that space. We're not looking to run a program out of that building. We've got the Eat Center for that. But for us, it was more the convenience of individuals being able to come in and use the restroom, wash their hands.
Okay.
Maybe for us to have like a place where we could keep some books or some information, just basic, but not using that as we're not using that as the classroom. That all of that's happening at the Eat Center.
Right. So no heavy use on this at all?
Correct.
Minimal on that?
Correct.
And then this will also include like upkeep of the irrigation around the house?
Absolutely,
and all of
yeah.
that?
This is a full stewardship of the property.
Okay.
So that would be us making sure that the front's taken care of, knocking down any weeds, making sure the front yard looks good, so that the property not only looks like it's being used from the back, but so that anybody coming along the front is going to be able to look at that property and see that it's being maintained appropriately. Our goal is to positively impact the neighborhood. So for us to maintain good relationships with neighbors front, side, behind, across the street, to minimize impact on the street itself so that program participants would be parking on property, not on the street. We want to reduce any kind of large or obvious impact into that neighborhood. So that's kind of the goal on that part.
Now, and then the product that, is that for sale?
So the produce that would come off of that property, it would be something that we could sell. You want to come and talk about that? We would be, part of it could be from our farm stand at our farmers market, but then we also have other outlets. The goal would be to kind of develop a sustainable income for the program. So if we could sell the produce and put that money back into the program, that would help offset some of the costs.
Okay. And I was just curious to that, does any of that produce, obviously you got to cover costs and overhead, I understand that can be donated back to the community for, families in need? Is there a certain element in your program for that?
That absolutely is something we would look at. We're open to that. One of the issues that we have faced with that in the past is that we have to be GAP certified, and until we're on the land and doing that, we can't achieve that certification. So it's something down the road for sure. We also are working with the Riverside Food Hub, which is run by Riverside Unified School District, and Santa Ana Unified School District, both who have farm direct food purchases. So our food would be going into those schools, and we're open to looking at other outlets like that as well. So, but as far as donations, absolutely, we would look at that. We just have to get certified first.
Okay. And you're working on that?
Yes. As soon as we're on the land, we can get a certifier and auditor out to see the operation, and we can do that.
That's the only questions I have right for now.
I would like to say thank you for last week.
Oh, yeah.
No words can express to us how grateful we are for all the work that staff did for last week. Just grateful for all of it. That you mentioned us in your speech, that Robin talked about us, and it made us feel welcome into the community and that we're doing something positive. And I want to thank you personally for letting me give you a hug. I know it probably threw you off a little bit afterwards.
Yeah, I'm very secure in my skin. Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah. It was the most attention I've had in a while. So.
But thank you very much. It was
No, you're
great.
more
And
than
for anybody
welcome.
who's out at the Legion tomorrow night, come on out to the farmers market as well. We'll be out in the parking lot. So thank you.
So, Chad, I'll have a question for you later. But Dana, do we have any public comment?
I have no public speaker cards for this item, Mayor.
Okay. So we'll bring this back for council discussion and action. Robin?
I'm definitely in support of having the Eat Center use that as a demonstration and learning farm. I think there's a lot of benefits to the city for that. It's going to make the property occupied. It's going to be put to good use. It's going to benefit the community. And in this big picture of, again, promoting agriculture and our large lots, we can't always depend on the Horsetown USA. We've got to make sure that as we're up against some of these legislative matters, that our land in Norco is being put to good use all the time. And so when we look at ways that people that might be not financially able to sustain horses and livestock, having these gardens and having these small farms is definitely a way that we're going to be able to preserve our lifestyle. And I think it's incredibly important that we support any work that we can that's going to get us to that end.
Ted?
Yeah, I support this. I think it's a good use of that property in the interim until the Veterans Housing Project gets built. And I want to compliment, I think, Colin, you had a hand in this memorandum and stuff because I can see your handiwork. And I looked over the liability that we had in this, and Lord, if you helped him, kudos to you too, because this is, I always worry about the long-term effect when we get into programs like this. Are we setting a bad precedence? And after I read through the stewardship here that we have, the memorandum of understanding between it, I think this is one of those things that's a good use of this property. I think as far as, since it's a city-owned property, it's probably the best use of this property without you having to pay our staff the time and equipment in there to do it, or we'd have to hire a contractor. So when I look at the cost of this annual cost to include the water sewer, I know it's probably going to be more than that once they start irrigating the crops and things like that. But still, it's cheaper than we can pay our own staff or have a contractor go out there and do it. And we're going to get something back, or at least the community's going to get back. And if we can get a farmer out of it and they want to go and start managing 500 acres somewhere, go for it. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Catherine?
Yeah, I'll just echo the comments of my fellow council members. This is really a win-win. I come back to our city motto a lot, city living in a rural atmosphere, and what is more than that than really having this demo farm. And then I met with Patrick and Chris and just want to echo, I've seen some really amazing community farms out there, and so I'm really excited. I'm really hopeful that we can get something really wonderful that I've seen in other communities, and from there we can see, where that takes our town and where that takes our residents, because I think if we have it and it's here and it's local, that will just open up a lot of opportunities for our town's future and for our residents. So, and it's going to be great to maintain the land and all of the other things that have been mentioned. So, until we can get that veterans housing, which will be another wonderful thing for our community. So, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Kevin?
So I want to thank you too. I mean, when Andy came up, we were trying, Robin and I were driving people around trying to find a place to do a demo farm. And Andy said, well, we have this property. It's at least a year off, so we'll have people coming and going. So I think it's a win-win in terms of that. The stewardship, I think it's going to be wonderful. It's already paying dividends. My understanding is Assemblywoman Cervantes came, and I've actually seen her support our historic overlay, and to have her come here and to look at this is a huge win for us. She's leaving in December, January, so we're going to have to get whoever wins the next slot. One of the things that's interesting is when I was taking tickets at the fair, I was with a gentleman who's kind of a mover and shaker in Norco, and he said, well, this whole agricultural thing's never going to work. And I said, well, I don't know, I mean, we're talking food shortages, we're talking all kinds of things that are coming down the pike. And so I'm hoping you guys will do the impossible and prove him wrong. I would appreciate that. The other thing I think that's important is that along with our historic overlay, this may help us to protect our local control. That means the voice at that podium. So I'm laying a lot on you guys to do the impossible in many ways, but I'm really, really excited that this property is going to have some activity on it, and I'm looking forward to it growing. And I just really appreciate Amanda changing the lock, so we had to jump the fence. By the way, Patrick, I got in a lot of trouble for that. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So I have an idea, and to somewhat hold cost down, so it's to Chad, I guess, that since the use of the house is basically going to be wash your hands, flush the toilet once or twice, can we change that domestic meter out to irrigation meter, because that's the bulk of the cost, and which would reduce the cost of the water bill, the monthly bill, if we just called it irrigation?
If it was strictly used for irrigation, then it can be defined as an irrigation meter, but if the water is being used in the house, that water goes down the sewer, it's still going to have a sewer charge attached to it. Per definition, per what we call it.
And how many meters on that property do you recall? One for each house or just one for both?
Sure.
Okay, there's two? Since that's going to be the bulk of the cost.
If I may, you know, Chad's correct, and that is absolutely true. I think the interesting thing here, this is our property, and we are
Right.
the payer. So we can
Right.
elect to do what we would choose to do on our property. So I think that's at your discretion.
Along those lines, it's a very interesting thought. What if you, cause I'm assuming they're going to be going in and out of both houses just to let people see them occupied, but what if you made one of the houses, that meter, an agricultural meter, and the other one, leave that as a...
Just as the basic domestic. You know,
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that too, the smaller rental house there.
As long as they're going in and out of the houses to show people that they're going in and out, I think they don't have to use the facilities in the one, just go in and
Like
out.
in the smaller one, you don't have to use the facility.
Maybe
let's
park
say.
by the one house to the south and use the one to the north.
But if we have discretion just to say landscape,
Yeah, Mayor, if I may, I think, you know, we each have an interest in mitigating our costs, right? Because we're sharing in that cost. So my suggestion would be, we as staff can work on that after, assuming
Okay.
you approve the agreement. We can work together to see what we can do to mitigate our mutual cost.
Okay.
Right? Recognizing that we are the property owner and it's our
Right.
meter.
Mhm.
So, okay, if you're the consensus of the council is to let us move forward with that, then we can certainly do that.
we okay with that?
Would it then come back, or?
No, I don't think it has to come back. I think we can just work it out.
Okay, so that would be under the discretion of the city manager with the agreement?
No, you would have to approve the agreement, but with regard to the details of how we meter the home, that's typically a
on the
staff
metering.
level issue.
Right, so the
anyway.
metering wouldn't come back, that's what, so,
No,
so
it
that would
doesn't
be under the
come back.
discretion of the city manager to make that change?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah, because we're getting into this, my questions are like, what are the actual differences in the cost, is it worth it, and what is the precedent, but I'll
It was
trust,
just a
I'll leave it to
thought
the,
that-
yeah, but then I'll leave
yeah.
it to the judgment of staff to look at that and see what makes
You're
the most sense.
comfortable with that,
Yes,
yeah.
I am, thank you.
Yeah, it was just a thought to reduce the cost burden on that. So, with that, I'll entertain a motion if there's no other further comments.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you, Dana. Good job, Michelle.
Mayor,
Okay.
if I may,
Yes.
Mayor, as you know, you're moving to item 6A. I just want to make a note that our planning director, Alma, had a personal matter arise tonight, so she's not with us. So
Okay.
I'll handle that item for you when you're
Okay.
ready to do that.
This one's pretty easy. So we'll move into public hearings. This is a continuation of a public hearing for Code Amendment 2022-06.
Yes, Mayor, we're just asking to continue the hearing. Staff's still working through the new building code update and preparing that analysis for your review. So recommending tonight that we continue the hearing to the next regular meeting, November 2nd.
Okay. And Colin, you want me to go through with opening and closing on this?
No, Mr. Mayor, it's just being continued to a date certain. You don't need to open the public
Okay.
hearing.
So with a date certain, we don't have to.
Correct.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for Code Amendment 2022-06, adopting the 2022 California Building Standard Codes to November 2nd, 2022.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. City Council staff communications. Any city staff comments, communications? City Attorney?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to recognize the staff that spent so much time and effort on the Mayor's State of the City presentation the other day. It was truly outstanding. Our communications manager, Kelly Newton, really led the team, but it was a great team effort. The folks from the IT folks running sound to the facilities and maintenance staff at Nellie Weaver Hall, our community service staff, the city clerk's office. I mean, really lots of folks, and I'm probably forgetting people that I should be recognizing, but just huge thanks to our team for making that a really special night.
Thank you. Ted?
I just want to share with you that I had the opportunity to go to Norco High School and talk to two of the classes about our upcoming election. Didn't talk about candidates, but what I encouraged them to do was to register. And I encourage you all, if you're, most of you, I'm going to speak to the choir here, but registration, I think, ends soon, and you got to get registered to vote. I think it's the 26th or whatever. So please register. The kids were very receptive. A bunch of good kids. These are all going to be seniors, so they're eager. They're not anxious about voting. It doesn't bother them. It's something they're going to grow up and do. And so it's good that I got to talk to them and tell them it's easy. Go online, people, register to vote. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Robin? Catherine?
Two things. Speaking on what Councilmember Hoffman said, you can drop your ballot off in City Hall. I dropped mine off here before the meeting. And thanks to the community services staff for the T-ball grand opening on Saturday. I was there, and they're just the cutest, and I'm a little biased because some of them were mine, but especially to the coaches who are, parents with multiple kids, and they're out there getting kids excited, wanting to learn how to play, trying to teach them the rules, and just really encouraging them. And it's always a treat to see our little ones out there working together and learning to have fun and playing ball. So.
Kevin?
So we didn't get to go to T-ball. Robin, Ted, myself, we went to the Support Sisters, and there's over 1,000 people there easily, and it just gets bigger every year, and that was pretty cool. And then on the 29th, the Kiwanis, they raise money for scholarships. They're doing the annual walk around the Lake Narconian. And we raise a ton of money doing that, and we're looking forward to having people come out and walk around the Lake Narconian and see all the historic buildings and that kind of stuff. So that's 29th. I think we start at 8 o'clock, something like that.
Thank you, Kevin. Ted, did you want to mention Rotary Club?
I can't. You can come out to the park, plastic car show for last year. We have almost 100 cars there. Classic 60s muscle cars for us guys up there in that time frame. And I think, Robin, you get your truck up there.
No.
And then trunk or treat after that.
It's going to be a trunk or treat. We're going to have a pumpkin patch up there for the kids because we're close to Halloween. But it was a lot of fun last year. And please, I know the high school has their cornhole tournament for their baseball team. Leaps counts as their fall festival. I can hit them all. But it's fun things to do on the 29th as we approach that. And then, of course, anybody that walks up to Pumpkin Rock this time of year. Unbelievable.
Yep. So I'm going to comment with Catherine about T-ball. Michelle, your staff did great. This year, I don't know why, it was just funnier. It was like, herding puppies. But I saw my first triple play. That one kid just kept running around. Never stopped. So it's a kick. It's a kick. So with that, we are going to adjourn back to closed session and finish up this evaluation. But you're all excused. You don't have to wait. Nothing earth-shattering is going to come out. So thank you so much for all attending.